I really think China is the future. That's very impressive, extremely impressive. My hat is off. You guys rock.
That I'm very confident that the future of China is going to be great, and that China is headed towards being the biggest economy in the world and a lot of prosperity in the future.
The thing that will feel pretty strange is that the Chinese economy is going to be probably at least twice as big as the U.S. economy.
China is committed to reach peak carbon emissions sooner than 2030. And to have a sustainable energy economy by 2060. These are very aggressive goals, and I think they're great goals. I wish more countries actually had these goals. I'm very confident about Tesla's future in China. The Chinese economy, I think, is going to do extremely well over the next decade, and will become the biggest economy in the world. And it's also committed to a sustainable energy future. And Tesla is doing both of those things. So we're building cars. We have China. I think long term will be our biggest market, both where we make the most number of vehicles and where we have the most number of customers. I would like to strike an optimistic note and say that I'm very confident that the future of China is going to be great, and that China is headed towards being the biggest economy in the world and a lot of prosperity in the future. And this 5-year plan is going to be a part of making that prosperity happen.
Well, I think China's a real interesting country, I have to say. The thing to appreciate about China is just that there's a lot of really smart, really hardworking people there, and they're going to do a lot of great things. This is sort of, independent of Chinese government policy. They're just going to do a lot of interesting things. The thing that will feel pretty strange is that the Chinese economy is going to be probably at least twice as big as the U.S. economy. Maybe 3 times, but at least twice. So that assumes a GDP per capita still less than the U.S. But since they have about 4 or 5 times the population, then it would only require getting to a GDP per capita of half the United States for their economy to be twice the size of ours. And as I'm sure people in this room know, the foundation of war is economics. And so if you have half the resources of the counterparty, then you better be real innovative. If you're not innovative, you're going to lose.
Well, I think there's an understanding by the Chinese government that electric vehicles are very important to the future. In order to have clean air in cities, you have to go electric. So the policies and initiatives of the national government are increasingly favoring that outcome. The challenge for Tesla, I think, is to figure out local production, because right now our cars in China they come in with quite a high import duty, and we're not eligible for local incentives. So all of our sales in China are effectively at quite a high penalty, but that will be alleviated once we move to local production.
Certainly China is an extremely important market. In fact, for premium sedans, China is about half the world market for premium sedans. So if you take something
growing, right?
Yeah, so take something like the Mercedes S-Class, but last year 54% of Mercedes S-Classes were sold in China. So a pretty important market. So we're going to definitely do a major push in China. And actually some of the most enthusiastic potential customers we've seen are people from China. So we actually want to make sure that the car actually has features which are specific to the Chinese market, and make sure that it's not just taking an American product and just sort of sending it to China without any changes. So we want to make sure it's tailored to the market. I mean, as far as copying stuff, I think that's certainly a risk. I think China's actually getting a lot better these days, and I think the new government is taking intellectual property a lot more seriously. So I'm actually starting to feel more and more confident about that the technology not being copied in China, or at least it getting much better. Electric cars and solar and batteries and that kind of thing, and
I'm really excited to be here in Shanghai for the Shanghai Gigafactory, which is, I think, the Tesla China team has done an amazing job, really mind-blowing. Like, I'm just astounded by how good the job is, and how much progress has been made. And I think it's a good, story for the world, and to say, like, look how much, progress you can make in China. This is extremely impressive. Like, my hat is off, you guys rock. So, I've never seen anything built so fast in my life before, to be totally frank. I've seen some crazy things. So, I think it's like, I really think China is the future. Well, it's very impressive. And there's also some great progress on entrepreneurial rocket companies in China as well. I believe 2 have made orbit, and it's very difficult, very hard to make orbit. Achieving orbit, I have great respect. It was very hard.
So yeah, with respect to China, China's economy is going to be 2 to 3 times the size of the U.S. economy, at least double. So therefore, in order for the U.S. to be competitive on military level, the innovation has to overcome a gigantic gap in economic output. Okay, so in the absence of radical innovation, the U.S. will be militarily second. Okay, basic math.
Yeah, probably in 10 years, more than a half of new vehicle production is electric in the United States. And China's probably going to be ahead of that, because China's been super pro-EV. I don't think a lot of people know this, but China's environmental policies are way ahead of the U.S. Like, their mandate for renewable energy far exceeds the U.S. I think sometimes people are under the impression that China is either dragging their feet or somehow behind the U.S. in terms of sustainable energy promotion, but they're by far the most aggressive on Earth. It's crazy. In fact, a coalition of Chinese car manufacturers just wrote the Chinese government to beg for them to slow down the mandate, because it's like too much. They need to make 8% electric vehicles, I think, like next year or in 2 years or something. They can't physically do it. So China's by far the most aggressive on electric vehicles and solar. But that's a common misperception that they're not. There's one Google search way to figure this out. Well, it's really pretty easy. So I agree. Although, quite frankly, I think China is quite well developed. Let me tell you, China has better highways and definitely better trains than the United States. Yeah. By far. Okay. In fact, I had a great experience taking the bullet train from Beijing to Xi'an to see the terracotta warriors. Cool. Yeah. Oh, it was a great experience. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I think the challenge for Tesla is that in China we need to establish sort of a local partnership. Yeah. And so we're going to kind of figure that out.